So Laura, tell us where you have flew in from.
I've flown in from Phoenix.
Okay. And I think the story on how you became a 360 member is so interesting. So do you mind sharing with us how you came to become a 360er?
Oh, not at all, not at all. I think much like you, years ago, probably 2009, I was at a point in my life where I said there's got to be a better way. And I was looking for better ways to make money, better ways to make a living. And I did similar to what you did. I put out a lot of money for some Rich Dad classes and said, I need to learn how to do this. I've been middle class all my life. I don't even know anyone who can tell me how to do this. And so I did. I went to a couple of classes, but then I went to the convention in Las Vegas, which was amazing. And me, I don't spend a lot of time around a lot of people. I'm kind of a loner, and so it was overwhelming to me, but it was wonderful. And so I walk in this giant room with all these people, and I'm by myself because I don't know anyone who would do what I decided to do at that point in my life. And I just happened to sit next to this wonderful woman we start chatting. What are you doing? Why are you here? And you told me, I started buying houses. I think for you had been doing it about a year, maybe a little less. And you said, and at this point, I'm at enough that I was able to quit my job. And you didn't, it wasn't gold plating. You didn't say, oh, it's easy and look how rich I am. But you just went, it's working. And I can no longer remember going, you mean it works? And Crystal said, yes. And so that was a wonderful thing. And you told me about your business. I think you had only very recently started 360 Investments.
Sure
and
so tell us about your experience with 360. What have you been able to accomplish?
My experience was wonderful. And I wasn't.
People think like we're paying people to say it's wonderful,
Exactly.
So you've got to really show the
I
proof.
I'll give you some details on what we mean by wonderful. I remember I had started to buy a house, and then I was getting laid off from my job, and I said, I don't know if I have a job.
Yes.
But then that was okay. We missed the first one.
Yes.
But then I got a job, and I talked.
You didn't give up.
Exactly. I didn't give up. I said, okay. I'm sorry, Crystal, I can't do this one because I hadn't committed, but I said, I think I'm gonna. And then I said, nope, I'm not. But I then got immediately rehired at a new, immediately.
Yes.
And I do remember you had set up a few people. One of the things 360 Investments does incredibly well is getting all the right people together to get things done. The power team, if you will. And I remember talking to the loan person and finding out, sure, you can get a loan. You're in the same industry? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it doesn't matter that you just changed jobs. Yeah, we can get this done. You've been in the same business for 10 years. We can do this. Oh, well, good. And I remember looking at your maps and your statistics online, which were incredibly helpful.
Yes.
Getting the statistics on crime, the statistics on housing costs, the statistics on rent, the economic base, and looking at Memphis and saying, yes, Memphis is a very good economic base. And at the time, living in Phoenix, I said, well, this is interesting. Rents in Memphis are the same as rents in Phoenix. The cost of a house in Memphis is less than half of the cost in Phoenix. Oh, holy cow, it will cash flow. And so that was enlightening and wonderful. And with the power team already set up, I was able to get the loan from your hard money folks. Exactly, first from your hard money folks. Then get the house bought and fixed up because it was a house that was in disrepair that a bank wouldn't lend on yet, which is exactly what one wants because one can get those at a really great price. I flew out. I remember I just started a new job. I didn't want to try to take vacation. Flew out, I think, on a Friday evening or a Saturday morning, looked at the house, met the guys doing the rehab, said, yep, I'm buying this. Because I had already at least signed off on the initial offer, but I was ready. I said, no, I'm ready. I'm signing on the dotted line, anything. And I think within a month I had my first home, and it really was a zero down deal. We bought it.
I gotta stop you right here, because everyone says zero down is too good to be true. How is that possible? What are you smoking?
Exactly.
So, what do you tell to those audience who keep saying those kinds of things, that that's too good to be true, that how can that be possible? I mean, what do you say to that audience?
And that it does, and part of that is getting the right house. You get one that's in a state of disrepair that the bank won't lend on. Hey, guess what? You can get those really cheap. And you know what? You put about 10 grand into those and fix them up, but the extra value you add to it by putting that 10 grand in it is about 15 to 20,000.
Exactly.
And so here you are, you're 30,000 for the house, 10,000 to fix it, 40,000. You get your appraisal, it comes in at 60,000. The bank says, yeah, I'll give you a 40,000 loan on that $60,000 house. No, you don't need a down payment. Your loan to value will easily hit 80% or less. Great. And so then you get your loan.
So
And
what's your
that's
cash
done.
flow on that property?
You know what? That one, still today, my very first one, it went through a rough year in 2012. I
Okay.
was having some trouble with the
Okay.
property managers,
Okay.
but this year it is back again at cash flowing consistently at $420 a month.
Wow.
Yes. My other two are not that
Okay.
high, but they
Okay.
cash flow consistently
Awesome. So how
too.
many total properties did you
Yeah.
buy through
So
360?
now I have three. And so I have the one cash flowing at 420
Okay.
consistently. That is just my favorite and my first. But the other two really are awesome properties. One of them consistently at 180 a month,
Okay.
and then one of them consistently at 170 a month. It was higher.
Yes.
It's the one in kind of a downtown area of
Okay.
Memphis. Taxes went up
Oh,
on
I
that
see,
one
I
in
see.
that one area.
We're gonna
So
actually
its
talk
cash
about
flow went
reducing
down.
your taxes, so.
Oh, good.
Now,
But it's
all,
wonderful.
all three you got for no money down?
All three, no money down. One of them, I got a small check back at closing. I got like $300 back. When somebody
just
paid
think
me to buy a
that's
house.
impossible. So,
Exactly.
if you can say the first word that comes up when you think of 360 as a brand or a culture, what comes to mind?
Is it brand or a culture?
First thing that comes
Yeah,
to mind.
inclusive.
Awesome.
Inclusive.
Yeah. Awesome. And what made you decide to come on this retreat?
Several things, and one of them is the magnetism of 360 Investments. It's a company that has built and brought together an amazing group of people. And because it started with a core amazing group of people, it attracted more amazing people. It's one of those law of attraction things. And this past year, my energy for investments, I've had my share of financial problems over the past couple of years that have nothing to do with my investments. And I've had a low energy, and your call came in at just the right time. I said, this is exactly what I need. I will go hang around with these other awesome investors. I will talk to them about what they're doing, and I will derive energy for what I need to do to make my portfolio bigger and to make my life better.
Awesome. What's one takeaway you want to take from this event?
I think for me, a couple of things.
Yes.
One is to talk to other investors about how they're doing with their property managers. As I said, I had a tough year with them one year, but I'm actually right now in a good place with my property managers. But what I have learned is you don't just sit and get comfortable
Yes,
just
yes.
because you're in a good place with your property
Absolutely,
managers. People can be awesome one year and the next you're
and they
not.
change.
And you need to know who everybody else is using. People need
Yes,
to talk
yes.
and have a backup plan. So I'm
Awesome.
looking for some backup plans. And I am really looking for that energy and reading some of the books we've been reading. One of the things they talk about is emotional strength, emotional
Yes,
intelligence. And I
yes.
said to myself, wow, I have a lot of financial education at this point. I am understanding it. My education is good enough that I understand that, in fact, a zero down house purchase is possible.
Yeah.
Once you understand the mechanics of the deal, you know it's possible. You don't
Yeah.
even question it
Yeah.
anymore. So I've got the mechanics,
Mhm.
but I also have the negative voice in my head that's constantly saying, well, everybody else can be successful, and I'm not so sure about you, Laura. So I
Awesome.
think
We're gonna
the
work on
energy of
mindset.
people will help.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we're so happy to have you, and I remember when I got on the call to invite you, and you said absolutely. That just made me
Immediately.
smile. So thank you so much for being here,
Thank you.
and looking forward to our journey together.
As am I.
Cheers.
Cheers to wealth and health for all of us.
Absolutely.